You've mapped the observable universe and sequenced every gene in the human body. Yet science cannot quantify the feeling of being you. It cannot explain why firing neurons produce an experience at all. Physical science explains the mechanics of firing neurons, but fails to show why those mechanics produce the warmth of love or the texture of red. Philosophers call this the hard problem of consciousness. It remains a total mystery. We usually assume the brain generates consciousness, like fire produces smoke. But an alternative suggests the brain is an instrument, merely tuning into a signal it does not create. Testing this requires peeling back 7 specific layers of awareness to see how consciousness actually behaves. Mastering the mechanics of the physical universe means very little if we remain blind to the lens through which we experience it. We begin with the 3rd level of consciousness, the state we take for granted, waking life. In this state, your brain renders a 3-dimensional user interface from a flood of electrical signals, evolved for survival rather than for witnessing objective truth. René Descartes and other historical philosophers questioned whether this physical world was merely a mental model, a shadow of the thing in itself. Waking life is a consensus hallucination, a shared construction held together by language and physical laws. This is most apparent in the 2nd level, dreaming. Here, the mind generates worlds with convincing physics and emotional weight, without any external sensory input. Freud viewed these as windows into hidden memories, yet his analysis struggles to explain the mind's raw power to build realities from nothing. You write the script and build the universe, only to forget your role and wander through your own creation as a bewildered tourist. Since these internal simulations trigger real physiological responses, our standard metric for what is real is clearly incomplete. At the 1st level, deep sleep, the entire narrative of the self is annihilated. However, you wake up knowing that you experienced nothing, which implies a witness was present to record the void. This paper strip shows how neuroscience maps this state from the outside, slow delta waves pulsing while the body reboots. While the machine sees a biological shutdown, a dim seed of awareness persists quietly behind the curtain. Because awareness survives this deep physiological shutdown, consciousness appears to be a continuous underlying current. Human beings can push beyond these ordinary states to reach a 4th level, transcendental consciousness. Ancient traditions have spent thousands of years systematically mapping these states through meditation. These waveform lines illustrate what happens in the brain of an advanced meditator. Chaotic, independent hemispheres synchronize into a single, unified signal. Inside this state, the noise of active thought stops, leaving only the wordless sensation of I am. In this profound layer, emotions and suffering become temporary waves within a much larger, unshakable ocean of awareness. The personality is exposed as a temporary expression acting upon a permanent stage. Beyond this, the map reaches the final layers, cosmic, God, and unity consciousness, where the distance between the observer and the world dissolves. Human language breaks down here because language requires a subject describing an object. At these levels, that boundary is gone. There is no separate self looking out at the universe. There is only infinite consciousness flowing through every form. These layers suggest the brain acts as an instrument, tuning into a musician that exists independently of biology. Subjective awareness represents the universe finally achieving the capacity to look back at its own creation. These 7 layers of awareness represent a map of what we already are. The greatest mystery of the cosmos is the very awareness processing these words right now.